Welcome to The Explainer. Look, if you've been paying any attention to the news lately, you know the conversation around artificial intelligence has gotten intensely polarized. I mean, on one hand, we're being sold these visions of an absolute utopia where machines just solve all of humanity's biggest problems. But on the other hand, we're staring down some very real, immediate threats. Massive labor disruption, economic anxiety, the whole shebang. It's an incredibly fast-moving, high-stakes situation. So today, let's just step back from all the noise. We're going to look purely at the data, the research, and what the actual architects of this technology are saying.
Okay, look at this number, 150. Just think about that for a second. According to a recently published piece detailing the views of Dario Amodei, he's the CEO of the AI company Anthropic, this could actually become the average human lifespan. That's right, Amodei is boldly predicting that if we manage to properly harness and guide AI, it could become this profound life-extending tool, pushing our life expectancy to 150 years. I mean, imagine having to pay off a 100-year mortgage, right? But seriously, this isn't science fiction. This is a prediction from one of the leading figures in the field, and it perfectly sets the stage for the massive transformations we're about to dive into.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The century of miracles. 2. The future of work. 3. Is UBI the answer? 4. Jobs safe from AI. And 5. The human advantage.
All right, part 1, the century of miracles. The whole thesis behind this technological shift really starts with what Anthropic's CEO calls the compressed 21st century. He's basically saying that the scientific progress we normally expect to grind out over the next 50 to 100 years, that could be compressed into just 10 years, thanks to AI. We are talking about medical research moving at 10 times its current speed. Imagine an AI designing cancer drugs that are specifically targeted to a patient's exact DNA, destroying only the cancer cells, or decoding complex brain structures to finally make memory loss diseases a thing of the past. And it goes beyond healthcare too. Amodei predicts AI could drive up to 20% annual GDP growth in developing nations, completely optimize agriculture to end global hunger, and massively accelerate green energy. It is a vision of absolute world-altering abundance. And to really wrap your head around the sheer scale of the processing power driving these predictions, you've got to hear this quote from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. He said this at the recent India AI Impact Summit. By the end of 2028, more of the world's intellectual capacity could reside inside data centers and outside them. He genuinely believes we are just a couple of years away from early versions of true superintelligence. We're talking about systems capable of outperforming human executives or the very best research scientists. It's an extraordinary statement. But this incredible surge in processing power brings us face to face with some very immediate practical friction.
Which brings us to part 2, the future of work.
Let's pivot to the flip side of this journey, grounded in some present-day corporate reality from a recent TIA report. AI is absolutely not just a research project anymore. It is already driving massive workforce efficiency. For instance, the report highlights that human resources departments are poised for some huge operational transformations. We're looking at potential productivity enhancements, jumping anywhere from 20 to 40% across knowledge work domains. That is a massive leap in efficiency. But of course, doing more with less inherently changes the demand for human labor in those specific tasks. To actually put a number on this disruption, the World Economic Forum projects that a staggering 86% of the labor market will be transformed by AI and information processing by the year 2030. 86%. That leaves a mere 14% of the market unchanged. We are literally looking at a transformation on par with the Industrial Revolution. It's a tidal wave of change, and it's approaching fast. Just how fast, you ask? Well, 70%. According to Transamerica data cited in that same TIAA report, over 70% of private sector companies in the U.S. are already using or planning to use AI to augment their workforce. The crucial takeaway here is that this is not some far-off theoretical problem for the next generation to figure out. It is a transition happening right now, actively being integrated into corporate infrastructure, which naturally leads us to the biggest macroeconomic question of our time.
Part 3. Is UBI the answer?
With such a profound transformation on the horizon, universal basic income, or UBI, is easily the most commonly proposed solution. Dr. Tan Quanghong's academic research maps this out perfectly. If left unchecked, AI-induced job displacement leads straight to economic insecurity and a drop in overall well-being. But if you introduce UBI right at that intervention point, you theoretically sever that link. It counteracts those negative consequences, promoting poverty reduction, improved well-being, and broader economic stability.
Essentially, it provides a baseline safety net for when traditional wages start to disappear.
However, as Dr. Tan Quan Hong's research is very careful to point out, UBI is definitely not a magic bullet. Impartially looking at the academic pushback, there are some immense challenges here. First up is the astronomical physical cost of implementing a truly universal program. And with that comes potential inflationary pressures. I mean, if you inject massive demand into an economy without increasing the supply of goods, money just loses its value. On top of that, the data on how UBI actually impacts labor supply is pretty mixed. But perhaps the most profound concern is that a basic income doesn't replace the non-monetary benefits of having a job. Work provides purpose, it provides social engagement, and a sense of identity. A monthly check simply cannot replicate human dignity. It's a partial safety net, for sure, but maybe not a comprehensive solution.
Because the economic and social stakes are just so incredibly high, how we manage this transition is everything. Sam Altman hit the nail on the head at the AI Summit when he suggested the world may need something like the International Atomic Energy Agency for international coordination of AI. The goal here is democratization and safety. Centralizing this kind of unprecedented, godlike technological power in the hands of one company or even one country could be disastrous. We might absolutely need global, coordinated oversight to make sure the productivity gains of AI actually benefit humanity as a whole, rather than just displacing us.
Okay, moving to part 4, jobs safe from AI.
So, what does all this mean for you right now? Well, data from the U.S. Career Institute maps out some high-growth jobs with a 0% risk of automation. Look at the top of this list. Nurse practitioners are projected to grow by a massive 45.7%. Choreographers are up nearly 30%. Physician assistants, mental health counselors, and even coaches and scouts are all seeing projected growth of 20% or more. Notice a trend. These aren't jobs where you just sit at a desk moving spreadsheets or writing basic code. These are highly specific, deeply interactive roles.
So, what exactly unites these professions? Let's formally define an AI-proof job. It's a career requiring uniquely human qualities that a robot cannot easily replicate. Things like advanced social skills, deep emotional intelligence, and complex physical adaptability. Think about it. A nurse practitioner navigating a chaotic, unpredictable medical emergency while also offering genuine empathy to a terrified family? A robot is not doing that anytime soon. Or a choreographer creating original, emotionally resonant movement in real time. These roles require persuasion, negotiations, social perceptiveness, and grounded physical action in completely unpredictable environments. This is exactly where humans continue to shine.
And that brings us to part 5, the human advantage. This is where we tie it all together. An analysis from the Navbar at Times highlights the fundamental boundary between artificial processing and genuine intelligence. We so often conflate insane machine processing power with true intelligence, right? But machine intelligence is really just calculating text patterns. It lacks a physical body, lacks true empathy, and crucially, it is trained on incredibly limited internet data. Actually, consider this. 80% of internet content is in just 10 languages. So AI is entirely missing the vast, undocumented oral traditions and cultures of the world. Human intelligence, by contrast, isn't just individual. It is deeply social and collective. It is embodied in the physical world, it's grounded in history and morals, and it's based on the diverse, lived experiences of 8 billion people. AI doesn't actually understand anything. It merely mimics the data we've fed it.
So the big takeaway here is that we have to focus on the right problems. Forget the sci-fi Terminators for a second. The immediate danger isn't that machines will suddenly wake up and decide to outsmart us. The real threats are entirely structural. We need to focus on the bias that's hard-coded into automated systems because of that limited training data we just talked about. We need to watch out for the centralization of technological and economic power. We have to actively manage this massive labor displacement and the transition of our workforce. And we urgently need inclusive global rules for how this technology is built and deployed. We are literally standing at the edge of this compressed 21st century. The processing power is scaling exponentially, the labor market is shifting under our feet, and the economic rules of the game are being rewritten. But as the data shows us, the absolute most valuable skills of the future are the ones that machines simply cannot replicate: our empathy, our complex physical adaptability, and our collective social understanding. Which leaves us with this final thought to carry with you today. As AI masters the processing of data, how will you master the art of being human? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I'll see you next time.